Good morning. I'm excited about starting something new today. I think it's kind of become obvious to all of us that this is probably going to go on for a while, this shelter in place. And I wanted a new way to be able to connect with one another. And so I'm going to start this little video each morning of some thoughts about the day, maybe some issues, discussing what's going on in our world, sometimes following up on the sermon with some other things I couldn't fit in the day before, maybe talking about some books I'm reading. It's going to be a variety of things, but I hope it'll at least give you a little something to think about each day. You know, I talked about a person named Hamilton Jordan 2 Sundays ago. It looks like Hamilton Jordan, but he pronounced it Jordan. Some of you will remember back when he was involved in politics. It turned out that he grew up down in southern Georgia. In the end, when he went off to Vietnam to serve, came back home, got a degree in political science. In the end, he wound up at 26 years old coming up with a plan for a peanut farmer there in Plains, Georgia, how to run for governor. Jimmy Carter won. And immediately Hamilton was very involved with him and put together a plan on how to run for president. And in 1976, as a significant advisor and planner, he helped Jimmy Carter win the White House. He went to Washington, D.C. and was very involved in the Carter presidency. But it was there he also learned that there can be a lot of mean people in the world, people who begin to spread false rumors and untruths about him, discovered how it can be picked up by the media and proclaimed as fact. In fact, he was put under investigation by the FBI because of all these accusations, and it would be a 10-month process before a grand jury would return a vote 24-0 to drop all charges and say he was completely innocent. But by that time, your name is tainted. He learned very much the old saying, the truth never catches up with a salacious lie and gossip. But he didn't let that get him down. He continued on with his life in a wonderful way. But as a young man, he developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. At one time, the doctors had told him he had maybe 3 years to live. But he took experimental drugs at the National Institute for Cancer. He beat it back and did well. But about 5 years later, then he developed melanoma. He managed to beat it back. And then 5 years later, he developed prostate cancer, and he was able to beat it back. But having had cancer 3 different times, having lived a life full of incredible success and very painful times, as he went on a little later in his life, he was very reflectful about life. It was actually 20 years ago now, back in 2000, he wrote a book, and he entitled it, No Such Thing as a Bad Day. I'm sure it's not in print anymore, but I've kept it on my bookshelves just because I love the title and I love the thought. No such thing as a bad day. You and I are right now facing a kind of time when, if we're not careful, we get awfully discouraged or afraid or depressed for many different reasons. Some of them good reasons, some just purely fear out of the future. We've been trying to remind ourselves we don't have to be fearful or afraid. God is with us in this moment, in this day, and you and I can live this in a meaningful way. The scripture I was thinking about for today was simply from Psalm 118. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. There's no such thing as a bad day. I hope you'll seize this day and find great joy, express your love, go out of your way to make sure this is a day where you are growing and sharing your love with one another. There really is no such thing as a bad day. I hope you have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow morning.